But there's going to be a day when we don't got to worry about that crap no more. It's coming soon. That millennial kingdom, oh, howdy. What do we say? He will be the perfect justice across the entire globe. How awesome. It's like, did you really get hurt? Go away. That's it. But no. No speaking. Go away. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to see it. Especially when I'm on my glorified self. It's going to be awesome. Arrogance. So, anyone who knows anybody who has all the answers. Like you talk to everyone has that friend somewhere. We ask them, and they have something to say about everything. It's basically based out of self-conceit. Especially older people. No offense, Robbie. Now, a lot of the times, they actually do have most of the answers. Surprisingly. But every once in a while, you come across even that one old gentleman that just pulls it out of his hind end. No idea. He's just repeating things he's heard online. It's like, it's scary. Information? Most people get their information from Facebook. Most people. It's like 74%. Facebook is news now. It's more popular than CBS, for crying out loud. And you can get Fox News on Facebook too. And they still don't use it. It's like you can get it on. I use Facebook mostly for news now. I subscribe to Fox, and now it's like, okay, filters in. I don't care. Ooh, that's interesting. Go there, explore that. That's what I do. It's crazy. But the arrogance of people is, it's incredible. Disobedient parents, or disobedience to parents. Anyone who's ever has been to Walmart has seen this. You see it. Anyone who has friends who has kids, most of the time, your friend is one of those parents. It's sad but true. And the worst part about it is, this particular prediction is the parents' fault. It's their own fault. Why? Because they don't teach their children to respect them. I'm going to read my 3 favorite verses about kids. Proverbs 13:24. He who withholds his rod hates his son. If you don't discipline your child, you hate him. Don't argue with me. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. God said it. He who withholds his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him diligently. Diligence. What is diligence? Every time the doors are open, I'm in church. That's diligence. Every time my son says something he shouldn't, bad word, doesn't do what I told him, disobeys, spank him diligently. Now, doesn't mean you have to actually spank. But the rod worked back then, it'll work now. We're not actually using a rod. Now we're using the more pliable, which I think is better. I think the belt is less painful than if I actually went and got a piece of rebar and whooped my kid's hind end with it. But that's what a rod is. So honestly, I think they're getting off light. Proverbs 22:15. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. You can't help it. It's there. The rod of discipline will remove it far from him. Almost like, imagine a pitcher in a baseball game, and you have the batter. When he throws that ball is foolishness. You take that bat, you smack it out of the park. Again, use a belt. Or your hand. Some people think if you can't use your hand, then you're hitting too hard. I disagree with that concept, but you know what? Whatever works. But I tell you what doesn't work, sticking their nose in the corner doesn't do a whole lot. Every once in a while, you come across that kid, that works for them. God has blessed you greatly. Because 9 out of 10, maybe 19 out of 20, that does not do it. It's just not enough. So, figure it out. Test it once or twice. If they keep doing it, well, that didn't work. When he can't sit down, it worked for me. Last one, Proverbs 23:13 and 14. Do not hold back discipline from the child. Although you strike him with the rod, he will not die. strike him 1,000 times, he will die. But if you strike him with it once, he's not going to die. Again, don't hit him in the head, but the concept is pretty simple where you can go too far. If you don't understand what's not too far, like hit him in the head with a stick, is okay, you should not be doing. You shouldn't even be a parent, really, at all. And there's plenty of those out there too. You shall strike him with the rod and rescue his soul from Sheol. What does that mean, basically? Undisciplined children likely end up there. So if you don't love your kid, then you hate him. You don't discipline your child, you hate him. And you're increasing his chances that he will go to hell. That's basically what it is. That's the short and sweet of it. Disobedient children are the parents' fault. God gave us the guidelines, the intelligence to discipline our children with love. And anyone who loves God, really, really loves God, I mean, I've seen it. These people loved God with all their heart. I know it. And yet, they didn't do it enough. So it's like, so then I have to ask the question, did they not love their kids enough? Yeah, the age of accountability thing, but at the same time, why didn't you love your children more? Discipline them more. Because based on their action, don't get me wrong, I had a rebellious phase in my life where I had no restrictions on who I could sleep with. All they had to do was be hot to me. That's it. There's no requirement. I was one of those guys. Sad to say. Straight up, I was an army guy, just like the rest of all my peers. But there were things, I still had a line that I didn't cross. I didn't drink and drive. I was the designated driver for all my guys. They needed to go somewhere, I took them. No problem. But I knew my guys got there, got back, got safe. Simple to me. But when it came to that, there were those areas that were gray to me, areas that were just plain out black and white. If it could cost somebody their life, no. That's a black and white area. If it could only endanger myself, let's go play there for a little while. And I did frequently. I used to drive 120 miles an hour in my Cavalier. Well, no. The governor continued at 109, so 109. And that was me. But as long as no one else was on the road. And that's just the way I did things. And it's sad. So, and just my dad whooped my butt frequently. But when I came to that one point, it's like he wasn't responsible anymore. Not for what I did. And he actually asked me one time, he's like, what happened? I wasn't a good enough father. And that actually broke my heart. Because he thought because of my bad choices that he wasn't a good enough father. Now, he knew better, but in that moment, the enemy started getting into him. Started poking at his mind, saying, you weren't good enough. Look at your son, you weren't good enough. But I was old enough and wise enough, not wise by any means, but wise enough, to look at him and say, these aren't your choices, these are mine. It's my choice to do wrong. It's my choice to be stupid. And that's what I told him. I'm being stupid. It's not your fault that I'm being stupid. And surprisingly, that helped. I didn't defer my punishment at all. Not at all. But it's true. And my father, God wasn't going to allow, about to let Satan mess up my dad because of my stupidity. So God inserted the wisdom to be like, don't you let him get after your dad like that. We shut Satan down. I still got I was too big to whoop at that point, but there were some consequences. That's life. Anyway, malicious gossips. How often do you find yourself in a situation where you're listening to somebody gab about somebody else's life? So-and-so did this, so-and-so cheated, so-and-so, so-and-so, so forth and so on. Now here's the worst question. How often are you that person? I've been that person, not frequently. Every once in a while, I find myself talking about things that I've overheard. Because if someone comes to me in confidence, that goes to my grave. If I overhear you because you're talking too loud, you're bad. That's just kind of how I am, I say, hey, it was public apparently, so I didn't feel the need to keep it quiet. Every once in a while, I find myself as that person. And I try to curb it as best as I can. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. I got a list for you guys here. Lovers of pleasure. Pleasure is not always as most people find pleasure. Pleasure is just things you enjoy. Most of us, that pretty much follows a pretty simple guideline. Things we enjoy, pleasurable things, but it goes past physical. It's most of the time for us, it's an it's a mental satisfaction, so that you enjoy to watch, enjoy to see, because let's face it, most of us are not out on a football field every Saturday, every waking moment we can, except for the pro football guys, because they truly love it, what they do. But for the most part, the things we enjoy are things we watch, we see. So I'm going to give you a little list here. A list of pleasures. Sex, alcohol, vacations, video games, work, money, fame, recognition, working out. Short little list. But think about all those things. All those things inherently in and of themselves, there's nothing wrong with them. But there's a guideline to it. And there's no one scriptural guideline for it. It's the whole of the Bible helps you govern that. Sex with a married partner. Someone you have the vow with. That's who it's designed for. Anything outside of that, you're wrong. It's simple. But within that context of how God designed it, all day long, as much as you want, knock yourself out. You don't care. As long as you don't neglect your other responsibilities. But for the most part, you don't care. Nothing wrong with it. Alcohol. Christ drank wine. There's alcohol in there. As potent as what we have now? Probably not. But did he have some? Yes. Anything wrong with that? No. But if you're one of those people who struggled with alcohol at some previous point in time in your life, you probably should abstain from it. Me, a 6-pack will last me 6 months to a year. It's a mood thing. It's like, why not? I'll have a beer. That's it. It's not a problem for me. The other things, areas that it's like, I have to stay away from that because it's a problem for me. Alcohol ain't one of them. Alcohol in and of itself, nothing wrong with it. Everything in moderation is fine. But you have to know what's moderation for you and somebody else. Two totally separate things. Which goes back to one of the cardinal rules, actually, is being charitable. Charitable has something to do with giving to charity whatsoever. A charitable person will not have an alcoholic drink when the buddy next to him is an alcoholic. That's a charitable person. Someone who is considerate. But also must be a better word than charitable. But the actual root meaning of the word charitable is basically saying considerate. Someone who does the right thing because it's the right thing. Someone who does not do things that will influence somebody else negatively. It's considerate. Even work. People that work come between them and God all the time. And that usually ties back to money. They work so much because they got to make more money. I actually knew a girl. I still know her kind of, but not so much anymore. Worked 3 jobs. Like literally 12 hours back to back, 24s back to back. All because in 3 weeks she wanted to go to Lake Havasu. And she wanted to have at least $2,000 to $3,000 before when she went. Her job was her life. She lived to work so that once a month she could go play. It's like, that's not a life. It's really not. There's more important things than blowing $2,000 in one day. It was a Saturday. That's it. It wasn't like she went and had like a 3-4 day weekend. No. It was a day. I don't know what it is. I think that Havasu must be ridiculously expensive. I've been there when I was really young. It must cost like $500 a head at these restaurants or whatever because she needed thousands to go do it. It's like, wow. What could I do with all the money she's blowing at Lake Havasu? It's crazy. Fame, recognition, working out. Most people don't see that one. People put working out before God. They do. Same as their work, same as anything else. It becomes an obsession. The only thing we should be obsessed about is the Bible and everything it says and everything we learn from it. That's it. It should be pretty straightforward and simple.